The Jacob Media Sports Network, in partnership with 97.3 ESPN, brings you the Mays and Eytan Show.
Middays with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander.
Now, it's the Midday Show with Harry Mays and Eytan Shander on 97.3 ESPN Radio.
Off that high from last night of a two-game stretch in which they dominate the Boston Red Sox. First Aaron Nola, next up Drew Smiley.
No, he didn't dazzle or dominate anything.
He was pulled just in time.
Yes, you and I were talking yesterday, somewhat in jest, but somewhat seriously.
No, this was a serious
question.
It
was somewhat in jest. We were having fun. We were having fun with it, about who was going to hit a home run first off of Drew Smiley.
Yes.
Well, he opened up the game with giving up back-to-back doubles, okay? And then Jackie Bradley Jr. hits a bomb off of him in the second inning.
Neither one of us had Bradley Jr., I don't think.
No,
right?
but
you had Martinez.
Yeah, I said Martinez, and then
I think I had Bogarts.
Yeah, Xander Bogarts. But I'm just telling you, Smiley was Smiley. I mean, that's really what it is. But the pen was absolutely huge.
Yeah, it was stellar.
And you know who else was huge? And you got to give credit to? Gabe Kapler. Okay, he pushed all the right buttons, made all the right moves with regards to that bullpen. I mean, we went from Hughes, Suarez, Morin, Alvarez, and Neris. They went 5 1/3 innings, giving up just 3 hits and a walk to that lineup. And if you would have told me that, yeah, Aaron Nola's going to give you 7 innings, but the rest of it's going to be cobbled together by your bullpen.
Yes.
Okay, by committee.
You wouldn't have believed it.
And Smiley, and you're going to hold the Red Sox in 2 games to 4 runs, I would have said you're stoned.
Well, depending on who you're talking
to. And that's what happened.
I mean,
it's unbelievable.
To me, you say that a lot, though. Like, I guess you would have to depending on
well,
who
I wouldn't
be
talking to you.
Well, somebody else.
No, stoned on something else.
Okay, that's fine. Now, have you ever heard anybody say that when they're drunk? Like, have you ever heard somebody out of touch being like, oh, he's stoned, when they're talking about somebody being drunk?
Just drinking.
Yeah,
No, never heard that. No.
That used to be a common mischaracterization. I feel like when I was a kid, and you would have people being like, he's stoned.
I associate that with marijuana.
Well, no, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. But I'm saying, like, I used to hear every now and again somebody just way out of touch with life come out and be like, that guy's stoned behind the wheel. Like, well, I think he was drunk.
Yeah, same thing.
Right. So my point of it is, listen, there is life back now in the sales. What looked to be dead, you were about to be. Well, no. All I am is a conduit of what I see and hear around this city and beyond.
Okay.
That's all I can do, is become a conduit. And last night, didn't Bob give us some good odds, right, against the Phillies and moving forward about where they're standing? I'll tell you, the life is back in the sales. They were just about to have to go to the motor and go back to the dock. But they're able to at least get a little more life out of these sales.
Yeah, there are right now, but we've seen this before many times this season.
Every time.
Where they seem to get a little steam under them, and then they play a bad team like the White Sox and lose 2 out of 3. Or they play a team like they're going to play tomorrow night through Sunday in the Marlins, and they've lost to the Marlins.
Right.
Like, they have to win the series. Bottom line, they got to take 2 out of 3. I prefer, obviously, a sweep, as everybody would, but you got to get 2, and you got to get 2 against the lowly Pirates, okay? Because then you have the Mets coming in, who won again last night in dramatic fashion. The Mets just keep on winning.
It's amazing what they've been able to do.
I mean, really, what's happening here is this is developing into a pretty cool race. At the end of the summer. It's kind of cool.
Is it cool in the sense of that our team is in it?
Yes.
Meaning that if this were not in it, we'd be looking at it like the race for the Orlando Magic and Brooklyn Nets to finish in the 8th seed. Something like that. Or now maybe the Raptors and, the Magic. Right? Because outside of being, look outside of this fishbowl. We're talking about a couple of teams in the race for the back end of the wild card.
Right. You're looking for that second wild card.
We're not
having any
about
delusions of anything else.
No. I'm not even saying, Harry, I'm not talking about looking at this team and asking, do you think they can go far in the playoffs? I'm just saying, if this race were happening with 3 teams and none of those teams were playing in Philadelphia, forget about would we care, but wouldn't the perception be, hey, that's a pretty cool race like Orlando or Brooklyn or Toronto,
so you're saying
chasing for the 8th seed?
If it was St. Louis, the Mets, and the Brewers all fighting for the second wild card, and you get, okay, I
would
get
be,
what you're saying.
Listen, I get it would be interesting, and I understand, I'm not asking the interest factor. What I'm saying is, do you think that there would be more of a, not even level of disdain, but almost level of apathy because it's not a major position in the playoffs?
The only reason I would have any interest to keep track of it if it didn't involve the Phillies was to hope the Mets didn't get in.
Okay.
That would be it.
That's fair.
That would be
and
my
like I
only
said, there's
rooting
interest.
or anti-rooting interest.
Right. And,
Okay?
and I think that, to your point, there will be interest, and you'll find ways in which you can, outside of just gambling.
I'm going to the game next Friday night. Now I'm really looking forward to it.
Oh, is that right?
I committed to this a couple weeks ago, and I'm thinking, it might not mean anything.
Who's
now
taking
it's going to be great.
You and OB, the PD?
Yeah, right. No, me and my wife are going.
Oh, look at that, Harry.
Yeah, in a suite.
Now, how did you wrangle that?
I got friends.
You know people?
Yeah.
You got connections?
I got a lot of people.
And they're not interested in putting any money into the show, huh? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
At Harry Mays to you at Shander Show, 609-403.
How about Bryce Harper
0973.
last night? It's funny because I'm flipping around the channels. I was watching the game, but then I'd drift. Like if it was somebody coming up that I had no interest in watching hit or whatever, I'd flip to another channel. Well, I flipped back to the Phillies, and Harper's walking into the box.
Yeah.
And I told you my mom's at my house right now.
Correct.
And she has no interest. Okay?
Zero. She's
so
out?
she's like, can you put whatever back on? I said, no.
Well, what was with the whatever?
I forget what it was.
Well, this is probably a key element. Like,
no, it wasn't.
What
It
was she
nothing
watching?
key. She
QVC?
watches all the news channels
Okay.
and stuff. So she's like, can you put that, the
news channel
the last
back
channel
on.
back
Right.
on? I said, no, Ma. Bryce Harper's getting into the box. And she's like, she doesn't even know who he is, right? And I'm like, you got to watch this. When this guy's at the plate, you don't turn the channel.
Correct.
Boom. Oppo Boppo over the green monster. I said, see?
Yeah.
That's why you don't turn the
So
channel.
you stuck it to your mom?
I stuck it right in her grill.
Right after Harper busted one out and stuck it to the Red Sox, you turned around and
Yep.
said, boom,
There
in
you
your
go.
face. But what an eventful night of the Mays household
was.
last night.
It was.
My goodness. Now, how is the Lima handling the extra body in the house?
Oh, she's fine.
Do they get along and
Oh,
everything?
yeah,
Oh,
of course they do.
So, if anything, it's like, is it a gang up? Like, that's what happens with me. It's a gang up situation on me.
Well, yeah. I mean, they try.
Right.
Yeah. I'm fending them off.
Well, you've been doing it a little longer than me.
Oh, yeah, I'd say so. Yeah.
Now, I saw a piece of information that I want to get to coming up. I'm just going to tease it now. We've got a busy first hour, right? Mike Rose is going to join us at 12:30. He's going to talk about the golf tournament, some other great things as well. And then at 12:45, we had to put Zach Berman in because he's got an hour-long chat.
Yeah, he's got an online chat with The Athletic at 1, so we had to squeeze him in at 12:45 because we got to talk Birds because they've got
I think
their
he squeezed us in. I think it's more of that.
well, okay, yeah, semantics. But we got an Eagles game tonight.
Well, that's where I want to start before we get into things with Mike at 12:30. But let me tease this at 1 o'clock. I'm just going to read you the headline and the little byline that follows it, okay?
Okay.
Because I'm in the process, as you know, of getting married. We went to meet with the priest yesterday, and they let me in despite knowing who I am and beyond the faith thing, just knowing who I am.
Right.
So it seems to be okay moving forward. Listen to this. This is from Bloomberg, the death of the bachelor and bachelorette party as we know it, as couples get married later than their parents' generation, so goes the binge drinking in place of more substantive luxury getaways.
Okay, so no bachelor parties anymore.
No.
And I missed it. What are they putting in their place, or were they putting the money towards?
In place of more substantive luxury getaways.
Okay. And what does that mean?
Like 4 or 5 guys go out and play golf somewhere in California.
Well, I did that with a buddy's bachelor party. We went to Palm Springs.
So I don't know what to do. I mean, I've only been to a couple.
Yeah, I've been to too many.
Well, again, I've only been to a couple, and they were still probably on that line. All right, we'll get into it at 1 o'clock.
I didn't have one
You did
for
not.
myself, no.
All right, well,
I figured my life was one big bachelor party.
but you're going to do mine, so we have to figure out what's going to happen.
Oh, I am? I didn't know this.
Lima already signed you
This
up
is
for it.
news for me. News to me.
Yeah, apparently you're involved.
Oh, okay.
609-403-0973. For you and others out there, I just have a quick question about this game tonight, because Carson Wentz isn't going to play. We know that. You're not going to see any Carson. You'll see some other people.
I don't know.
Nah, you wanna,
Apparently Jason Peters is going to play
well, that's
a
what
little
I'm
bit.
saying. So give me one, right? Give me one starter not named Carson Wentz that if he's out there tonight, would make it worth it for you? Even if it's for a couple of series.
Not named Carson Wentz.
Of course, not
Okay.
named Carson Wentz.
Deshaun Jackson.
Now,
How about that?
Yeah, explain why. Because here's the thing: you're gonna fight the notion of seeing a guy beat up on number 2 or 3 corners. Like, we don't know necessarily who it's going to be out there. But okay, Deshaun's a good one.
Yeah, Deshaun Jackson.
Okay, just because
maybe they go back to that. What was it when Andy Reid had T.O. in that first preseason game? Wasn't it against the Ravens? I think,
yep.
And they threw a bomb up to him, right?
Yep, absolutely, first play of the game.
Yeah, first play of the game. We see something like that. We see Josh McCown. With that, he throws a good long ball. They toss one up to Deshaun.
This is what I think you have to factor in. When you say Deshaun Jackson, right, you also have to factor in who's throwing him the football. So you could literally walk away from the television. You could walk away from how you're consuming. This guy's here a lot. I think he heard you one time about the hat.
Well, the guy that walks by with the pith helmet on. Yeah.
And he's now rubbing it in your face.
And the surgical mask.
Well, I need to get one of those for mowing the lawn.
Oh, yeah. That'll look good. You need to get videotape mowing your lawn.
I already showed you a picture of the before and after the chainsaw.
Yeah, I saw that.
You didn't believe I was going to use that chainsaw.
No, I believed you.
I put it right to use at 2 o'clock.
I didn't know it was you had to plug it in.
Well, it's one of these $50 Remington limb and trim. So what I can do is I can cut through – it's basically like I could cut through you or I could cut through a small bush.
Right.
Either one.
You're not cutting down a big maple tree.
No, but I did see pictures with the guy at Ace Hardware who told me that he cut down some pretty thick trees with it.
Yeah.
I probably have to upgrade to the steel that has the battery in it.
STIHL.
Correct.
Yeah.
But in this case, I needed something quick to get rid of that nastiness. So one starter. Now, that's the only starter you can pick. You can't go Jason Peters on me. You can't go Brandon Graham. You can't go Malcolm Jenkins. Is there really anybody else? I mean, think about it. This is a boring game tonight, man. And I'm not saying don't watch it.
No,
I'm just saying, this is a boring football game.
No, it is. You're right. I mean, there's a couple of guys, depth chart guys that you're interested to see if they have a good game because there's some position battles going on, deep within the depth chart. But, to really sit there and evaluate it, like who are they going up against? Are they going up against, guys that are going to be cut tomorrow? You know what I'm saying? So I'm not a coach. I can't evaluate, how a guy played necessarily. You don't have film, so it's really kind of hard to sit there and judge anything.
No, I understand.
Unless you have starter on starter.
Which is rare because even on a series you have to look and see, did they sneak out a cornerback and put it at number 2? Because Ross Tucker or whoever's doing the show broadcast tonight.
It is Ross.
Might not mention that.
Right.
And that's not on Ross. I'm just saying that might not make that might not make the broadcast if the only guy on the field that's not a starter is a slot corner. Right? And the ball's thrown to another guy because that guy did his job. Meaning the slot corner who's a second or third stringer is on the field. He shuts down Nelson Aguilar's route. McCown throws incomplete to Alshon Jeffrey, and they show why the ball's incomplete to Jeffrey. They're not going to highlight the fact that there was a backup in there shutting down Aguilar. That's my point, is that you wouldn't even know at times who you're rooting for or against based on the broadcast unless you're looking at specifically your team. So I understand there's a frustration level of that.
No question.
Other than that, it doesn't do me any good to see Jason Peters or any offensive lineman in there. There's one, though.
How about Mac Hollins tonight? He's a guy that I think needs to have a pretty darn good game.
I forgot what that guy looks like.
That's what I'm saying.
Has he been on the field at all this preseason?
He's been on the field, but I mean he needs to do something tonight.
How about this? 609-403-0973 on the text board. I'll get to the one on the text in a second. As far as Mac Hollins is concerned, I don't know if he's even on the border anymore of making this football team, is he? I think he's on the opposite end of making this football team.
Well, yeah, right. He needs to really
cut
show
at this
something.
point.
Right?
Yeah, he's a final cut,
right?
I would think, right? Just keep him around. It's going to be hard to get even Ortega-Whiteside on the field at times because of the double tight end you're going to see.
Yeah, but Ortega-Whiteside has already shown that he's a player.
He is, but my point of it is that it's going to be at the expense of Dallas Goedert. And we already know Dallas Goedert's a player as well. You can't have 3 wide receivers. I mean, if you're going to go 5 wide the whole time, go ahead. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, what are we, Oregon?
Maryland. I mean, not Maryland. Madden is what
Yeah.
I meant to say. Yes. The Oregon version of Madden. See, I'm confusing it again. All right. 609-403-0973. First off, I don't think there's anyone that makes it worth it, honestly.
Is that a text?
It is.
Okay, well, yeah,
I'd like
I
to see
could
Timmy
that.
Jernigan in an interview. I want to know how he really got hurt last year. I'm still wondering about that.
Okay, well, maybe Spadaro will track him down on the sideline and ask him. Not likely.
No, not likely that Jernigan would even look at him. Another text, Miles Sanders. I want to see the skill level. Still ain't watching. Well,
Okay, so he wants to see Miles Sanders and his skill level, but still he's not going to watch.
No.
Well, then just wait for the Redskins game.
but Miles Sanders, I think, is a great one.
Yeah.
I think Miles Sanders, to be honest, would be almost equal. See, the thing about Deshaun Jackson is, as much as I want to see Deshaun and I want to see him out there, he's at the mercy of Josh McCown and then fill in the blank.
Mm-hmm.
So, really, realistically, he'd only be out there with McCown for a series or two.
Right.
And I don't necessarily know what you're going to get out of
Is
that.
McCown going to play? I mean, he's only been here for a couple days.
Oh, yeah, he better play.
But I'm saying, like, how many plays does he know? You know what I'm saying?
Hey, he better play.
He's been here for like 2 days.
No. This guy better play.
I mean, you're going to get a heavy dose of Clayton Thorson tonight, which
I'm
I
so
know
out.
everybody's excited about.
I'm so out. Aren't you?
Well, yeah, I get no interest.
That's
in
my
him.
point, is McCown better play at least the first quarter. So if Deshaun's out there, he's going to get a series or two, and then that's it. Yeah, I imagine they're going to work a play or two for Deshaun. That's why he's out there to do it. But are you going to be, like, think about this. What's the return of your emotional investment? If you're excited to see Deshaun start and the only action you see is one pass thrown to him that's 5 yards underthrown because McCown has rust on his arm.
Okay.
And he didn't WD-40 his elbow and
Listen, man,
shoulder
even
beforehand.
even if it is McCown to Deshaun Jackson and the pass is complete for a touchdown, my excitement level will be gone within 4 seconds.
I understand,
All right.
but at least that's, like, think about it like a crack hit. At least he got 4 seconds of a high.
That's two. How many drug references can you squeeze into the first segment?
I'm
here
just
today?
saying, man. What did we have, another one earlier? Oh,
Yes.
Speaking of which, Darren in Millville. My dad used to say he was high as hell when he was drunk.
Oh, really?
I'm telling you.
Wow.
Wasn't just me, bro. Was not just me.
Interesting.
Yep.
I wonder. Yeah, well, that's referenced in One Bourbon, One Scotch, One Beer, the George Thorogood hit from the 70s, where he references high in relation to drinking.
Yes, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And then came the natural transition into stoned.
Stoned.
Right.
So was that in the
Stoned.
80s?
That's
Did we
what I'm
go-
saying. Yeah, because I was born in 78, and I remember being like, 10, 12, which is late 80s,
Right.
and hearing that and hearing people say that, thinking to myself, it didn't make sense. Because as a kid, just especially as older as you are on this planet, actually, I shouldn't even say that. Now it's the same thing. But I feel like the first drug you're introduced to as a child, not as far as taking it, but just as far as like people around you, is marijuana, and that's what you associate stoned with.
Right.
So when you hear a guy, some older person be like, he was stoned as hell behind the wheel, it doesn't compute. That's
No,
all I'm saying.
I agree. I'm with you on that. But I'm just keep going back to the fact that, it's so good for us here in this city that the baseball team is still remaining relevant
Right.
at this point in time, because this would be the preseason game where you had a little bit of juice back in years past, where you knew you were going to see your starting quarterback, your starting offensive line. Everybody was going to be out there for a couple of series, and it kind of was your last glimpse at them until the season started. But it was something you got kind of excited about, right?
Yeah, I would think so.
And we have none of that anymore.
Because there's
all
no
that
starters.
is gone.
Think about what's changed. Tonight is a night in which we used to talk about tonight, like, how much should Carson Wentz play?
Right.
Second quarter
Yes.
or into the
whole
second half?
first half.
Right.
Should he play a series only? Should he play the whole first quarter? I know. It would be a poll question.
I'll tell you.
We'd have 4 options.
Yep. God, I can't remember the quarterback. We could probably do the year and figure out when it is we work together. But I remember doing this show on the weekend with Barrett Brooks, and that came up. A caller brought it up and was like, I need to see how Carson Wentz handles the halftime and going into the half and preparing. It wasn't Carson. It was another quarterback. But going in, I think it was
Sam Bradford.
Yeah, I think it was Bradford. Going into half and going through the halftime procedure and coming out and seeing. I just need to see him. If they have the ball in the second half, then I need to see him come out in that first series.
Was it that series where they played Green Bay on the
10
weekend?
for 10?
He went 10 for 10? Because I was playing golf that day.
You
I'll
missed
never
it?
forget it. Yes. I was at Glen Mills.
You missed the all-time.
And we went to a bar after the round,
Yeah.
and the game was on, and I witnessed the 10 for 10 in this bar after playing golf.
You missed the all-time bill of goods ever sold.
Oh, yeah.
Here for the Philadelphia.
unbelievable.
Think about that.
Sam
Jeff
Bradford's
Rulin,
leading
anything
us
else
to
you
the
can think of.
Super Bowl.
Yep, amazing. But I just remember Barrett being like, that's ridiculous, and then going off on the guy because he fought back. The caller fought back immediately, and then it was a heated convo. Barrett was great with it, just about how it just made no sense. Like, no player needs to go through that set of motion. But think about where we are from 5 years ago or 4 years ago to now, where there's not even any blowback. And not that, like, there should be. I'm not demanding.
What, if he's not playing?
Yeah, there shouldn't be any blowback at all for him
No.
not playing. But you know damn well he's not going to take a snap tonight.
No, he's not.
Not at all.
I doubt it. I highly doubt it. And, would I like to see him? Yes. But am I okay with him not playing? Absolutely.
It's fair.
Okay?
It's very fair.
Now, did you happen to read the piece that our buddy Tim McManus wrote on ESPN.com about Carson Wentz?
Now, I did, and
I just
I'm
read
curious,
it this morning.
Can we get Tim on tomorrow?
I think we might be able to.
Are you able to text him?
I texted him this morning, actually.
No, I know, but you haven't followed up as far as asking.
No, but it's called Carson Wentz 2.0, Inside the QB's Breakthrough Offseason. It's very interesting.
Now, let me ask you a question. And this is what I'm curious about with Tim. Because Tim has access like few do to the team, and he's been doing it on an exceptional level for years. I remember back, the weekend shows I used to host on the Fanatic. He used to be a producer.
Right,
way
he was
back.
my producer.
Yeah, I was
way
going to
back
say,
in the
way
day.
back with you. And now he's one of the nation's best team reporters. There's a reason why he's writing and covering everything for ESPN. I wonder how much of this was an opportunity. And again, I laid all that out because I would never put Tim in this light, but I'm curious if the Eagles wanted this as some opportunity to get Carson, or maybe Carson did, to get himself, right? Like if somebody of Tim McManus' stature is coming and saying, hey, I want to do a piece on the evolution of the quarterback from Joe Santoliquido's piece, don't you think Carson and the Eagles would be overwhelmingly open to this opportunity?
Yes.
To say, hey, so it's interesting because you know that you're going to be given access. And Tim already has the access that few do. So I think the back and forth between what Tim got and how he portrayed it versus what Joe Santoliquido got earlier last year and how it was portrayed in his piece will be interesting with the contrast because they're both coming from somewhere. Neither one of these guys are sitting there thinking, hey, I'm going to make something up.
Tim referenced the Santoliquido's piece.
That's my point.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Is that this is all an opportunity. And again, that's why it's worth the read. It's worth the click. It's worth the read because you can see not only the evolution of Wentz, but the evolution of the story around Carson Wentz.
Oh, boy, we got word here from Josh. This might make everybody want to stay tuned tonight for the entire game. Cody Kessler has been cleared from concussion protocol.
Wow.
Hit the breaking news sounder, Josh.
Wow. Well, no, that's too
long.
long.
That is enormous.
That's going to take us into the break and then back on the other end.